Florida State strikes from the transfer portal again.
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back into Locked On Seminoles. I am your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst and writer. Thank you for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day. I truly appreciate you stopping in to talk some Noles with me. Today's show is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. The Florida State Seminoles are pretty hot with the transfer portal. They gained Randy Pittman Jr. out of UCF. The tight end / H-back is one of the most athletic and versatile players the transfer portal has to offer. And as a bonus, again, like some of these other players coming to the Noles, he's played under Gus. He knows Herb Hand. He knows some of the other members of the staff. This is going to work out well. And as an additional bonus, ironically, Randy is a one-time commitment of the Florida State Seminoles before he signed with UCF, and he went to Mosley right down the road in Panama City. So this is a guy that is familiar with the area of Tallahassee. Should be a really smooth transition. I'm going to talk a little bit of my experience about seeing him play, about what he can do at Florida State, and as well, these numbers. I mean, he's a very talented young man. I'd imagine that a lot of schools would like to have his talent, so Florida State is pretty excited, I'm sure. I'm going to share my screen for those of you on YouTube. Everybody else, I'm going to announce everything on here that's pertinent about what's going on with Pittman, all his statistics and everything coming forward. So first off, let's get into the receiving. I think most people are most interested in that. But secondarily, let's just talk about Randy Pittman's ability to make plays and do it consistently. In all but 2 games this past season, he caught at least 2 passes, and he caught a pass at an 11 or 12 overall. So this is a player that was featured, and he ended up being the second leading receiver for UCF this past year in terms of the number of catches with 32. He had 416 yards, 13 yards per catch, and 2 touchdowns. Third down conversions, he had 4 of them. And quite frankly, this is a guy that really did try to get the ball to 32 catches out of 49. They threw the ball down the seam to him, etc. He only had 1 drop. There's a stat that I know Florida State fans like. Only had 1 drop on the season per Pro Football Focus, and he had 5 contested catches. This is where it gets interesting with him in terms of how he is utilized in a Gus Malzahn offense. He lined up in the slot 43.1% of the time. And keep in mind, for this season, which also includes special teams, he had 828 snaps. So that's a lot. He had 36.3% of his snaps are in line, meaning like as a normal tight end. And then in the backfield, 11.4%. Special teams player, that's a place that Florida State has been good. Having guys like Pittman on there will continue to help it. And he's also got 2 years to play after playing 2 years at UCF. As for a comparison, before I even go down the road with what he's going to do at Florida State, from seeing him play, I would say Jaheim Bell is a fantastic way to define him. I don't know if he's as athletic as Jaheim, but it's pretty close. I saw this young man play in high school, heavily coveted kid out of the Panhandle. I was not surprised that he adapted well to the college game because it's more about speed and versatility now than it is size and power at the tight end position. So this is a guy that can line up in the hip or / H-back, be a true fullback, be a normal tight end, be a slot, and even had a few snaps out wide this past season. Additionally, you're going to see him be used on wham blocks, lead blocker, etc. in the run game. It wouldn't even shock me if he got a few shovel passes and was even a runner at some point in Gus's offense. He's physically that gifted. Now, as it relates to what he brings to the table for UCF or for Florida State in terms of his ability to impact next year, he might be their number 1 tight end. And the reason I say that is, well, wait a minute, you got Landon Thomas, number 1 tight end in terms of snaps. I think Landon Thomas is more tall, powerful, and natural when you think of tight ends. But when you pair him with Randy Pittman, and you also have Amari, like that's as good a 3-headed monster as you're going to see. Landon's just a big guy, so in the red zone, I think he's the guy I would take. But between the 20s in particular, Pittman out in the flat, being a lead blocker, He's 6'1", 6'2", 230 pounds, give or take. This is about as good as it's going to get. Because, again, he's got proven production. He played quite a bit his freshman year as well. Florida State's in a good spot. So look for more 12 personnel next year. What's 12? 1 running back, 2 tight ends. And, again, Pittman lined up in the slot over 40% of the time. Is he truly a tight end? Is he truly an H-back? Is he truly a fullback? No, he's a football player. Florida State is getting a bona fide football player. This also helps you with injuries. Yeah, he could definitely go in there if Landon had to miss a game or he has to miss even a quarter. He could shift his role. If you play against a team that really prefers to play a slot corner, a natural corner, we'll put Pittman out there. Either they get out of it or you just screen them to death and you got a 230-pound man going up against somebody that's like 190 pounds. Those are not good situations for defenses. His versatility is also something you can use with motions and shifts to get angles. I've seen him play enough and just watching him at UCF as well. When I saw him play live, he was a guy that no linebacker was going to consistently cover. He ate linebackers alive, and he also did it after the catch too. Throw a pass in the flat, a screen, Randy Pittman can beat you. If you get him in a scenario where he's in pass protection, could he be better at it? Sure, he's going to get better at those things, but run blocking and pass blocking, after that he's been through a couple of years of this training and strength, I'm not even really worried about those numbers. The play calling and the strength of Gus Malzahn's offense is knowing how to use the running backs and the tight end / H-backs. He puts them in spots with jet motion, sweeps, H-back, shifts motion, where his guy's going to get a leverage advantage quite often. With Pittman's athleticism to go with it, again, it speaks to 32 catches, 13 yards a catch and 2 touchdowns last year. That is a very good football player. They won't have any problems with it. Finally, as a projection, I think that he'll catch 35, 40 balls next year, minimum. Castellanos is now an experienced quarterback. You may add Deuce Robinson. You have other receivers like Hakeem. You've got other guys coming into the fold from this freshman class that they just signed this past year. They're going to be sophomores. BJ Gibson, just as an example. Well, Wayne McCoy. They're not going to double Pittman. He's going to be one-on-one with linebackers and safeties. His production should be good. So he could end, it wouldn't even shock me if he led the team in catches if they wanted to do it that way. He could catch 60 balls next year. Wouldn't shock me at all. I would prefer the receivers did that and they got enough talent. That's the way it should be. But check down, screens, short passes to him, absolutely. He is also a guy that's athletic enough to split the seam, create some big plays if Castellanos wants to go that route. I'm sure that Gus will try to do it because he did it when he was at UCF. And that's something he did in his prior stops and during his coaching career as well. With that, thank you very much for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day. I truly appreciate you stopping in to talk some Noles with me. If you would, hit that like button, that notification bell, and subscribe to the Locked On Seminoles podcast. Thank you once again, everybody. Have a good one and take care.